But don't look in your rearview mirror, here comes number 8. He's a rocker, little roller, and he sure knows how to shut 'em down. I guess he runs independent, intimidators back in town. Yeah, I guess he runs independent, intimidators back in town. That boy, stand up, son.
And welcome to the Nasboys podcast. So today we got another interview for you guys today. We got BlueJimmie48fan, aka Brandon Panetto. How are you doing today, man?
Doing really good. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be on the show. I've been listening to the past few episodes, and I also remember the recent interview you did with one of my good YouTube buddies, Darren Gilliam, Black Flags Matter. So yeah, I've been following the show for the past, I would say, couple months, and you guys do a really great job. And yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate that comment. So let's get started with the question that we ask all our guests. How did you get into NASCAR?
Well, mainly, okay. Well, how did I first get into NASCAR? Man, my earliest like interaction with NASCAR actually was at the age of 3. You probably may remember when Kellogg's used to be a sponsor of NASCAR. You know, sometimes you get the cereal boxes, you know, Frosted Flakes, Fruit Loops, you know, all this good stuff, and they had the little like NASCAR toy race cars inside. I actually have one with Terry Labonte, but I think that's long gone. But I remember collecting that around age 3. I think there was also another one that they did that year with Christian Fittipaldi with the Cheerios box. I'm not entirely sure, but those were the first two diecasts I ever owned. But it wasn't until I would say around 2005 when I started to get glimpses into the sport. The first couple of drivers that I actually got I started drawing interest to was Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon. Those are the first 2 drivers that really fueled my interest into the sport. But the first race that I ever watched, flag to flag, it was just me and my dad. You know, we were just chilling, you know, having a good day. Obviously I was 5. You know, you do what any other normal 5-year-old would do. But we had this like giant television. It weighed like a ton, like a literal ton. Like it weighed like 1,000 pounds. But anyway. We had the 2006 Daytona 500. We were watching that. You know, the pre-race concert with Bon Jovi, which at the time Bon Jovi was one of my favorite artists, actually, music-wise. Yeah, and he recently came out with, you know, Have a Nice Day tour and all that stuff. But anyways, I was really fascinated by the racing that I saw. Like the first few laps we were watching, my jaw was like to the floor. I was just absolutely amazed. I was just blown away by the racing I was seeing, and throughout the day, I kept saying to my dad, that car's gonna win, and it just so happened to be Jimmie Johnson, the number in the 48 Low Chevrolet. And little did I know he would actually go on to win the Daytona 500. That's honestly crazy. And since that day, I've been a proud Jimmie Johnson fan. And it's been an incredible ride. I mean, 83 wins, 7 championships. Yeah, that I wasn't even expecting that at all. I mean, I would have honestly just been lucky if we would have even gotten just 1 championship, but to get 7 of them, oh my god, that was just it was so cool. But yet at the same time, you know, this was also the time of you know, this was that time of his career where all the fans, they were sick of him winning and all that stuff. It was like, I don't care. I still represent Jimmy all the way. So, right. Yeah. I mean, I remember, that was a pretty fun time. The first race I actually went to was the 2007 Pocono 500. It was actually me, my dad, my sister, and my mom. We all went together. Unfortunately, the race got rained out, and that was the one where Jeff Gordon won. But since that time, me and my dad have mainly been going to races. The first time I actually met Jimmy was 2008 at a banquet for the fall Charlotte race, and it was like we had this like fan club thing going on, but yeah, I met Jimmy for the first time, and like he was, tall and all that stuff, and once again my jaw hit the floor and all that. So, and basically the rest is history. I mean, I've been a proud fan of NASCAR, and I've also really started to grow into other forms of racing over the years, and especially in the past 5 years. I mean, I've started to follow IndyCar, F1, IMSA a lot more. I've also gotten into motocross and other forms of dirt racing as well. And I've also gotten to attend a couple dirt races. I attended one dirt race, and that was Port Royal Speedway in 2020. But hopefully I'll get some more of that as the years keep going. But yeah, that's basically about it for how I got into the sport.
That's
cool.
a lot of great stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff, and we have a lot in common, actually, Brandon. I mean, both of our favorite drivers are Jimmie Johnson. I started watching him around the same time. I started watching NASCAR around the same time you did. Started watching around 2004, and we both met Jimmie Johnson, our favorite drivers. And next up, I was going to say, asking about how you got started with YouTube and content creating. Your channel right now, 3.3K subs on YouTube, a total of 638,859 total views. And you've been collaborating with a good bit of NASCAR YouTubers. You've vlogged and met NASCAR personalities. So how did you get started with YouTube, and why did you create your channel?
Well, for the longest time, I mean, ever since I was like ever since I was like 8 or 9 years old, I've always wanted to do video stuff. I remember filming like I actually remember filming like some stop motions early on the days. Of course they were crappy as always, but but I really didn't care. I just liked the fact that I got to hold a camera in my hands, and I was absolutely fascinated by all the stuff that you can learn about how to shoot video, how to take some really great photos and all that. But yeah, so it wasn't all the way until 2016, late 2016. I mean, I've actually had intentions on doing a YouTube channel for, I think even before 2016, because I've actually grown up. Some of the main YouTubers I used to watch growing up all the time were TNT Man 93. I also have been following Eric Estep since the Double E Cup Series days, around 2011, 2012. Yeah, I mean, I was just absolutely mind blown by the videos. Aflac Cup Series was another one that I really enjoyed. But yeah, I mean, I was really fascinated with what they were able to do. I was like, you know what, I want to give this. If I want to give this a shot. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, you know what, at least I tried. But but I didn't have enough courage to make that decision. It wasn't until late 2016, and it just so happened to be the final race of the NASCAR season. Jimmie Johnson in the championship for Carl Edwards, Joey Logano, and Kyle Busch all battling it out for the championship. And I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna make myself a YouTube account. I'm just gonna record what happens, with the championship and all of that. People, hopefully, I understood that some people weren't gonna like it because Jimmie Johnson bias and all that stuff. And let's be honest, we're all loyal to our own drivers, and we're all biased in our own ways. So but yeah, I actually hold on. I actually have it was this tablet right here, and it's like a really crappy camera. I've had this tablet for over 5 years, but
Wow.
I mounted like a little stand up on the I mounted like a little stand to just, and it was like, and the tablet was just barely hanging on as I was recording that last slap, and I was like losing my mind and everything. It was so cool. It was so cool. I was kind of a little teary eyed after that 7 championship win. But after I saw the reception that I got from that first video, people were saying, I really like your stuff. I mean, you really should consider, taking this YouTube thing more seriously, and actually taking it a step further. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I actually might give it a shot. And for quite some time, well, actually, this was kind of a funny story. Some videos that actually I was first going to do were actually reaction videos, and you all know where the reactions have gone so far. But one of the first reaction channels I actually ever watched was Diadu Hunter 88, and I used to tune in every single week whenever after the race he did his reaction, and I'm like, hey, you know what, I might as well hop on that bandwagon and all that. I might as well hop on that train as well. I mean, because that to me, that's what it seemed popular at the time. I mean, reactions were big back in the late 2010s. So I decided to hop on the train. I actually met a couple of really good friends of mine. We're still really close friends to this day, and hopefully, and I'm actually going to be meeting one of them later this year. When I head over to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 500 this year, I'm actually going to be meeting one of them for the very first time. But yeah, I was introduced to this rather interesting group of guys. Their names were Brooks Hensley, Bryce Dennis, and Jane. It was James. Trying to remember his last name, but I was introduced to this group of guys. I mean, they were all Jimmie Johnson fans, so you probably already knew I was going to bond with them in some way. The funny thing is, though, I mistakenly named Bryce after another Bryce, and I actually DM'd the wrong one, and yeah, that was kind of a little awkward, but yeah, that was yeah, not the smartest move on my part. I mean, 16 years old, I've done a lot of I've done a lot of silly things in my teen years, but but yeah, the rest is history. I mean, me, Brooks, Bryce, James, we also added a couple others along the way, but we've been doing this reaction stuff for the past I would say
it's been years.
I think this is gonna be our 6th season coming up.
Oh, wow.
This is gonna be our 6th season coming up. But it wasn't unfortunately all the reactions and all that, it all came to a screeching halt at you probably may remember what happened with the last season's Xfinity 500 from Martinsville, the one with Bowman and Denny Hamlin getting together, doing the burnout on the front stretch. Every single one of those videos, every single person who uploaded a reaction video, every single one of them who uploaded a reaction, they were all taken down by YouTube, and it also banned YouTube, who actually had a really strong following. I mean, like 40,000 something subscribers, and all of a sudden, all the hard work that he worked up for, now all of a sudden that's wiped away in an instant. And and it put me and it put a lot of others in the NASCAR reaction community you know, it left a lot of us scratching our heads. You know, what's the next step going to be now with what's to come for reactions for the years to come. I mean, you know, YouTube and, you know, Twitch and all these other streaming platforms, they're really starting to strike down on, you know, on copyright strikes and all that, you know, the DMCA claims and all that stuff. And it's really put me in a position like, you know, I you know, I mean, reactions, they've been a really huge part of the channel's growth. I mean, it's basically one of the only reasons why I even have the audience I have now. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to risk like losing my channel and everything, you know, and then all of a sudden I got to start from scratch and everything.
Right.
So what else? So I started asking myself, what else can I do? You know, what else can I do to fill that gap? You know, instead of just posting reactions every single week. So I started migrating mainly towards I tried a couple of things, you know, with some earlier, like I tried gaming for a little bit, like around 2018, 2019. That unfortunately really did not work out. Until I would say when NASCAR Heat 3 came out, when NASCAR Heat 3 came out, I started competing in like several leagues, and I actually started like live streaming, you know, each and every race I was in. And little did I know, I was actually starting to get a little bit of traction just from me, you know, live streaming, you know, my league races and all that stuff. You guys probably may remember the Carnation Cup when that used to be a thing. You probably also may have heard of the Core League. I was actually their season 1 broadcaster, and it was really, really, really cool to broadcast for the Core. I mean, even though I personally wasn't the best at it, but you know, a lot of people they really seemed to enjoy it, and it also created one of the biggest, I guess you could say, sort of memes in the NASCAR gaming community when it just so happened to be the very first race that I was broadcasting, and it was Jared Lundberg, the Iceberg. And he had this like weird like glitch and everything, and I was just stunned, and everybody in the chat was like losing it, and it was like, and yeah, that was crazy. And I still crack up at that to this day, but yeah, the gaming side, that was that was really going well for me. I also did a few other special events with another good friend of mine. His name is Smoke Carpet 13. 2019, we ran the first ever Support the Troop 600. Actually, I could have won that race, but I made a little mental error coming out of 4. Unfortunately, ended up breaking myself, and I was and probably some of you, I don't know if many of you have already seen it, but I was pretty devastated and heartbroken after that, because I was putting everything on the line I had that day. But by then, you know, most of my audience knew that I was very, very passionate about what I was doing, not just for, you know, gaming side, but also for the YouTube side of things. So that kept going on for a little while, and then 2020, when the pandemic hit, it was a rather interesting time for me and for me and my family, because while my dad was like still working and everything, the rest of my family, we were all stuck home and all that. We really couldn't see our friends and our friends in real life and all that. So we had to find ways to manage our time better, and because of this pandemic, and now in 2022, I'm doing a lot more than I've ever done before. And part of that was was me getting into iRacing for the very first time. I joined the sim August of 2020. Joseph, one of my best friends, and we're still really close today. Joseph Costello, who's actually a Legends car driver. He first got me into the sim, and I started doing all my races and all that. And unfortunately, I started to learn the dark truth about iRacing. The community, it's like can get pretty toxic at times, but you know what? I mean, just as long as I was having fun, sometimes I get on, we do these like, little fun hosted sessions and all that. That was really fun to do. And obviously I know I had this like instinct in me, like I want to compete. I want to keep competing for wins. But at the same time, I don't want to look like a fool out there. I don't want to, make a complete embarrassment out of myself. But yeah, my first true test for iRacing was it just so happened to be the 2021 Podium 500. I know that's a pretty big event to get your iRacing career going, but
an interesting thing too.
Yeah, I know. It really is. But you know what? I said to myself, what have I got to lose? Let's just go do it. It would be really big if I can go out there and make a really, really big impression. And little did I know. I mean, little did I know I would be the last driver to qualify for the Podium 500 that year. That was at that moment. That was just such an incredible feeling. Just to even be in one of the biggest stages on iRacing. Competing against all the drivers from the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, and also WinVow, one of my honest opinion, one of the greatest NASCAR YouTubers who ever lived. Just saying, I got no this. I'm sorry to all the others, but he's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, it was so cool to race against all those other, content creators, Twitch streamers, and to gain the respect of all these other sim racers and all that. That was really cool. But yeah, I mean the rest is history with the YouTube channel.
I have to stop the meeting real quick and pause, and we'll make another Zoom meeting. We'll be right back.
Wow, that's kind of stupid that all these guys were getting banned, because I mean it falls under fair use, and we use a lot of NASCAR clips just to show people, like, if you're living under a rock, this is what happened. So that's stupid that you guys who are doing some, once again, under fair use are getting banned. So I don't really know what to say about that. Just a YouTube L.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, YouTube, the rules are the rules, but the thing is, with my reactions, I actually don't make any money off of them. I never plan to make money off of them. That's my intention. I just mainly just do it, just because I want to say, I just want to see what people, thought of the race. I mean, the people sometimes have the audacity, to sometimes come and say, oh, you're just biased towards Larson and everything. I'm like, dude, you don't understand do you not understand what passion is all about?
Right.
I'm like, gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you can't even say anything nowadays without being ridiculed for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Complete facts.
Yeah, like I get what you're saying, especially with the reactions, like with all those banning stuff that's going on. It's been a mess. I remember when I was doing reactions to races last year, I got copyright striked a lot, and I had to take some of them down. I even had to take down the Martinsville one because they basically want to show it to most the entire world. They're like, oh, you can only show it in the U.S. and maybe 2 or 3 other countries and stuff like that. It would affect views. It would affect, the algorithm, and it's a mess. But sometimes NASCAR races, you can react to them and they'll be fine. And there's some in particular, they're like, no, it's a big no. So I feel like they need to get that fixed.
Well, the main difference is that Fox they're a little less strict based on their like copyright laws and all that. But NBC is like is just a whole nother level. I mean, there was a period like in like 2018, like every single race that was on NBC, it just kept getting, claim after claim after claim after claim. I mean, and I had to wait like a couple days before the video actually came out. And that was unfortunately really frustrating. And this past year with the Martinsville reaction, it was actually the first time I ever got a YouTube strike. I was completely strike free from the start of my channel all the way to that race on around Halloween weekend. That's honestly just insane how I've lasted that long without finally getting a strike. I mean, there were definitely times like I would have gotten a strike soon, but I was shocked that it took this long before I finally got one.
Right.
It's impressive that you didn't get struck before. I mean, you've been on the platform since 2016, November the 6th to be exact. And I mean, you've been doing reaction videos for years, and at least at 5 or more. And with some of your content, you've been doing video gaming, you've been streaming as well on Twitch, you've been doing iRacing, commentating on iRacing as well. And I've been watching some of your videos for at least the last couple of years. I've been subbed for over a year. But one thing I wanted to ask you about is one of the big things on your channel is Angry Birds. Now you have you're involved with them in some way. You're a proud member of their Angry Birds 2 Traders program. Can you explain all that to us and how you got involved with all that?
Well, first of all, you got to go all the way back. I mean, if you've known me long enough, you know that I'm a really, really huge Angry Birds fan. My first interest in the franchise, I've been a fan for over a decade now, and this is actually going to be year 11 coming up. But it wasn't until November of 2019. It was just a few months after the second Angry Birds film was actually released, and I actually did a couple of videos on the sequel, and actually those got a ton of views. That was really shocking to me. So, and for quite a while, like my Angry Birds content was actually like overpowering and surpassing my NASCAR content. And I'm like, wait a minute. This channel's all about racing. How is this taking over that? I'm like, that's honestly crazy. But yet at the same time, their audience is way bigger than, I mean, their audience spans like what? They have like billions of downloads across, all around the world. I mean, it's no shock. It's really not a shock that they have the edge in terms, I guess you could say, fan base. But I mean, that isn't to say NASCAR's fan base isn't good though. That's not to say that at all. But anyways, it wasn't until November 2019 when I was invited by Rovio to the Bring the Anger event to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the game in Times Square. And and little did some of the people that came up to me, they say, hey, we really like your, we love your passion. We love what you do. We've actually, I think one of them even said we've actually seen your stuff before on the channel. And like, and the second I heard that, I was like, wow, did that really just happen? Yeah. So,
awesome.
Yeah. So, anyways, after that, I started, developing a lot of connections, within the industry at Rovio. But it wasn't until January 2021 when I saw this thing for the thing called the Angry Birds 2 Creators Program, I mean, you have to have, certain requirements to enter and all that. Had to have a certain amount of subscribers, followers. You also have to post content regularly and all that stuff. I've actually, and for a little bit, I was actually posting like Angry Birds 2 gameplay videos, and those videos were actually doing quite well for me at the time. So I said, you know what have I got to lose? Let's go for it. See what they think. And I think like about a couple of days later, I got the invite from I think her name was Lena, from Lena herself. She gave me the invitation to that you've been accepted, and that was really 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 special to me, because I've looked up to this franchise my entire life, and for me to get this chance to work with them, I mean, it honestly felt like a dream come true. And ever since then, we've been doing these really, really cool special events. I mean, I've been also, trying to get the brand out a lot more, especially in the world of, hopefully in the world of racing. I've actually had the privilege and permission to utilize the Angry Birds 2 assets on my iRacing cars, and I've gotten them quite a bit of exposure, especially in the world of sim. I mean, some of the iRacing community, they probably know me as that one Angry Birds fan and all that stuff who races on the sim pretty much. But yeah, I mean, that's basically my main goal is, and it's still been my goal to this day. I've been hoping and praying that Angry Birds actually gets into the sport of NASCAR, especially with NASCAR's shift to the younger demographic, and also with what else the franchise has going on right now for 2022. Oh man, this is you thought what we had before was big. I mean, you ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, we've recently just had Summer Madness come out, an original Netflix series that was released this past January. We've also got the return of the soon to be return of the classic old Slingshot games. I'm sure everybody's been anticipating for that. There's also new games that are being released. Like I said, I also do another video on Angry Birds Journey, which is another brand new title that just released. And I've also gotten to do a few other collabs, and they've also gotten to share some of my videos on their social media pages, and it's honestly just been a blessing, man. And I'm really hoping I continue to develop my relationship with this franchise, especially in the years to come.
That's really cool. Obviously, you're saying you want Angry Birds to be in the world of NASCAR, so maybe you could try to help them with that. I would love to see that, and I can't wait to see what other plans you got with Angry Birds. I'll be sure to follow it. But going back to NASCAR for a little bit, I was looking at your old Instagram page before it got hacked by those stupid crypto scammers, which, by the way,
unfortunately,
you were actually at a Daytona Q&A, and you said Jimmie Johnson recognized you from when you met him in the past. So what was that feeling like?
It was correction. It was actually Dover. It was actually
Okay.
Dover.
My
Yeah.
apologies.
So, no worries. But yeah. So I've met Jimmie Johnson on several occasions. The first time the first time I actually met him was it was 2008 Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was me and my family. We all went to Hendrick Motorsports. We had for this like massive fan club, brunch, for the Jimmie Johnson fan club. I think it was called at the time. I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but we knew about it. My dad signed us up for it, and we were invited down to Charlotte, for not just for the race weekend, but to also meet Jimmy, for the very first time. And yeah, so that was the first time we met him. I also remember the time actually the most for the majority of the times I saw Jimmy, it was all at Dover. Back when he did the You probably remember 2012 when he did the Madagascar 3 promotion, his partnership with the Build and Grow program with Lowe's. 2012 he did the Madagascar 3. 2013 he did Monsters University. Both of those times I actually got to meet him because I was actually still qualified. I was still qualified as a kid at the time, so I was actually allowed to go inside, be a part of build the race cars and all that stuff. I mean, that was just so cool. And then all of a sudden Jimmy comes right up behind me. I'm like, he's really behind me, isn't he? And I'm like just drenching in sweat. And it was like it was so cool. It was so cool. But yeah, but the closest interaction I had with him, it was 2018. Macy's Herald Square. He had an event for with Seiko and Chevrolet. With Seiko watches and Chevrolet, and I don't know, it was Gas Monkey Garage. It was Gas Monkey Garage with Richard Rawlings. They did this special event in Herald Square. They unveiled the car. Announced a new partnership with Seiko, and then afterwards, all the fans, we headed inside to take photos, meet and greet and all that. I got there at like 12 o'clock and the event didn't start until like 5. So I waited several hours for him, and there was also rain in the forecast that day too. So I was getting soaked in I was getting soaked in the rain, but I didn't care one bit. I was going to do everything in my power to see Jimmy again, and thankfully I did, and it just so happened to coincide with the Dover weekend, that same the Dover race that same weekend. And I was called on by Mike Bagley of MRN Radio to ask in order for me to ask a question, and I told him, Jimmy, you may have known me from the Seiko watch. I actually won it, and then Jimmy goes like, oh yeah, I remember. I know who you are. I've seen you before.
Remember me from Thursday at the Seiko event at Macy's. I'm happy to share with you, and I'm happy to share with everyone that I was officially the winner of the watch, of your Couture watch. That's it really means a lot to me. So yeah, right. I remember the picture we took. Yeah.
We were in New York and debuted this new signature watch that's come out, and they were giving a watch away, and
so yeah. Wait. So my question right now is now since your mindset is what is your mindset now going for the final six races of the season? Is it just going to be, are we going for the win and try to make a statement next year?
The question is the agenda for the
yeah.
What is the agenda? Knowing you and your bunch, it's only one.
And I'm like, that was like the moment it finally hit me harder than a brick wall. Like I was just mumbling like crazy as I was given the question. I was shaking. It was butterflies in my stomach. Every little thing that makes you feel scared, I was feeling it in that moment, and it was awesome.
Right.
It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, I've met Jimmy a lot of times. The last time I actually met him was the IMSA race at Watkins Glen. He was unfortunately in a rush, but I got him to sign one of the die casts that I brought from home. So it's actually hanging up on my wall back there with the majority of the 124s that I have. So that's
very
that's
cool.
Awesome. Yeah,
And,
like with drivers, they're very polarizing, and I mean, you're not alone. I remember when I've met drivers before, I was shaking too. There's a couple of them where I'm just shocked that I even had the opportunity to be able to see them and be able to talk to them. So you're not alone with that. A lot of other people feel the same way. And Mike, what were you going to say? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, first off, Christian, I agree with you. And Brandon, I've had a similar encounter to you, but not with Jimmy Johnson, to Joey Logano. He's my favorite driver, by the way. I met him a couple years back, and I met him like 2 times prior, and he was coming out of the drivers meeting, and he saw me, and he said, "Oh, what's up, man?" And I wanted to congratulate him on having, his first child, and just tell him like, good luck, all that stuff. I stood there like frozen. I was just like, "Oh my God, Joey Logano knows who I am." What? But
it was actually kind of the same thing for me. 2019, it was actually 2019 at Dover for the 50th anniversary when they had their 100th race. I actually was one of the lucky people that actually got to go into the garage for a few hours, and while we were waiting, all of a sudden Joey Logano's like son, he started walking up. He actually grabbed hold of my leg while we were waiting. It was me and my dad. And then all of a sudden I turned my back around and Joey Logano was like right behind me and everything. And I'm like, did that really just happen? I'm like, wow. It's like,
that's awesome.
It's like, you never know when you're gonna run into a driver. You never know when you're gonna run into anybody involved with NASCAR. You never know when that's gonna happen. I mean, that was just so cool to have happen. But yeah, go ahead with what you were saying.
I was gonna say I was also looking at your page, like I said earlier, and I saw that you've met Michael Marutz a couple of times. I believe that you've done a video with him. You were racing, I can't remember, it was one of the heat games. But you said that you were one of the very first fans that he had ever met. Could you tell me like what that experience was like?
Yeah, so me and Michael Marutz, we go all the way back to 2018. I first started getting into his channel around that time. I knew from the start he was a diehard Jimmy Johnson fan, just like me. So and I was looking at his sub count, all of his videos, and I was like, oh, okay, this guy knows how to run a YouTube channel. And also he had another channel that he had at the time called 2M Media, and it was really big. I'm like, wow, this guy's pretty. This guy is bigger than I expected him to be. But I remember I don't think he met really many fans, especially from the 2M side of things. I mean, he was. I know his the stuff he posted. It was kind of controversial in some sort of ways, but
Yeah.
but I really didn't care about what he posted as long as I see as long as I saw his passion about racing, passionate about NASCAR and everything, his commitment to having a successful YouTube career. I mean, I really didn't care what people were posting, just as long as they had just as long as they had the personality that I was expecting of. And I mean, obviously I know that's changed, my opinion, that whole personality thing, that whole viewpoint has changed, especially as we've entered these trying times. But Michael Marutz, the first time I met him, it was at Dover 2018. He was literally one of the nicest guys you may ever meet. I mean, we spent like a good, I would say half an hour to half an hour just talking about racing, talking about the race, what to expect. And also we talked about our YouTube channels and all that. We also met up again later on in the day. Even after the race, I was like hollering at him, Michael. It's like, and then we all started gathering together. It was me and a few other fans that I actually got to meet. We all got to meet one another. Take pictures and all that. That was really, really, really special. To do that. And this wasn't the only time me and Roots actually collabed, to what you're referring to, Mike, earlier. We also collabed on a Black Flags Banner video Bad Seasons, Jimmy Johnson 2019.
Yeah, I remember.
As painful as that video was to do, and you know, to do a voiceover for that. I mean, just the fact they even got, you know, just even do a Black Lives Matter video, you know, also with Michael Brutes, you know, another creator I've looked up to. That was really special. That was very, very special. And to this day, me and Michael, we're really great friends. I'm actually a moderator now for his YouTube channel, and really hoping that the next time I attend one of the races at either Watkins Glen, Pocono, Dover, whatnot. Hopefully we got to meet each other again. And he doesn't live actually too far away from where I am in New York City. I think he lives in Pennsylvania, I think, or somewhere around there. But
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get to meet again soon. He's legitimately one of the nicest guys you may ever meet. I mean, some people will say otherwise, you know. I mean, but just because they're one thing on you, it's weird. They're one and this I'm sure this applies to all of us. We're one person on YouTube. We're another person in real life. Just because we upload all these videos, you know, that may spark some debate. I mean, that doesn't mean we're not, you know, we're not caring, we're not compassionate, you know, we're not caring towards our fans. I mean, the fans are what got us here to begin with. That's at the end of the day. So
yeah, I completely agree with you.
Those are great points, you know, a lot of great stuff. And with Michael, I mean, he's been doing a lot of great stuff lately. I mean, just watching his streams, and he breaking the record for the most cautions in a NASCAR race. And
that video was funny.
Yeah, Michael, I mean, he works so much. He puts so much effort into his content. I mean, we've actually asked him to come on the show before. So, Michael, if you are watching this, maybe for an interview. But anyways, yeah, I was going to ask you, you've been collabing with a lot of NASCAR personalities and people in the community. I mean, there's Darian and go on. And I was going to ask you, like, you recently went to this event, the Motorsports Race Car and Trade Show in Oaks, Pennsylvania, and you actually got to meet up with my bro NASCAR Nick and some other people there. So what was that like? And also, are you planning on vlogging at some events this year?
Well, firstly, to start off with the Motorsports Show, obviously it's a fantastic event. $15 one day, $20 to get you in for both days. Unfortunately, this year it was a lot more scaled back due to the Omicron you know, the Omicron stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
It was a lot more scaled back. Some sections were actually blocked off. And the only driver that was there was Danny Bohm in the Truck Series. But besides that, it was mainly all, like, you know, the dirt racing stuff. You know, just a showroom of cars, and you know, you also had the diecast shop and everything. Which, by the way, they have killer deals on diecasts over at the Motorsports Show. I mean, I ended up I actually got this one of them right here. This is the Larson Vegas win. I'm sorry. There we go. There you go. Focus. There you go. There you go. That's the Larson Vegas win, 164 from last season. That was I scored that for like $8. That was a very, very big, very good deal. And they also had like a killer deal on 124. It's like 3 for $20 or something like that. That was on vintage cars too. So that was very fascinated by that. But anyways, getting back to Nick. I've actually known Nick for a number of years, actually. The first time we met was actually at Riverhead Raceway when I actually went with Joseph and his Legends car team. I was shooting some stuff. You know, I was shooting some video, taking some photos for them at the time. But yeah, Nick's a really, really, really great guy. Also, you know, Robbie Noonan, race day 2011, original Big Bry, Newman Haas. I also got to really connect with over this past year, and There's a few others. Matt Yerkel, Racing Nation TV. I mean, there's there's a lot of other personalities I got to connect with over this past year. But yeah, me and Nick, we've gone back a few years. We've attended several events together, and he's I mean, he's got a pretty underrated channel. I mean, in my honest opinion, I mean, the Sub Cow I mean, he may not have a lot of subs, but trust me, he's got a pretty underrated channel for what he posts and everything. So, yeah, go give him a follow and all that. So, yeah, it was really cool connecting with him. You know, meeting all the friends he has connections with, and it's honestly just amazing. Like, you know, all these like, you know, all these smaller creators, you know, especially you know, surrounding, you know, Robbie and Byron and, you know, David Land and all this and all their group of guys. It's amazing how connected they all really are, and it was and I feel with them. I got to meet for the first time. I got to meet last year. And some of them I've known for a while, but now we're starting to mingle and all that. So, yeah, it really is just amazing how truly connected this community really is.
Yeah, it is, and you know, I've been looking forward to meeting. I've met some people last year in the NASCAR community, and hoping to meet more in the future. And you know, this year I feel like it's going to be a big year for NASCAR with all the changes and all that, and with these events, it's a great way to connect with other people that you may see online but never met in person. But yeah, we're almost at the end of our time for the show tonight. But Mike, do you have anything else you want to add, or anything you want to share or ask?
No, I think I'm done with my questions. But yeah, thank you, Brandon. You're a very nice guy, very interesting interview. Maybe we could have you on the show some other time, but yeah.
And yeah, I was going to say also, you can check out Brandon. His links will be in the description below. Make sure to go follow and subscribe to him. And thank you, Brandon, for accepting the interview and being able to come on here. It's great. We able to learn a lot more about you and be able to just hear the history of how you started with social media and where you're at today, and all the great things that you do. So thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Hey man, I really appreciate it. Keep up the great work with the Nasboys podcast, and I'll just go ahead and really quickly plug all my social media. Follow me on the brand new Instagram. It's at BlueJimmie48fan YT because the old one it got hacked. If you don't know that, make sure you guys also subscribe to the YouTube channel, BlueJimmie48fan. Also stay tuned on the Eggebert side of things too. Make sure to also follow them on their social media as well. And also, if you haven't already, also give the brand new series Eggebert Summer Madness a watch. Now streaming on Netflix.
All right. Yeah, all his links are going to be in the description. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Make sure you all follow our social medias. Go check out Brandon's links. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
You want me calling night. You wanted what I think. All these women lie.